Call the meeting to order. Leesburg City Commission organizational meeting. Today's date is January 9th, 2023. If everybody please stand for the invocation and pledge. Heavenly Father, we thank you for your many blessings. We pray that you will continue to bless this community and this great city. Please guide and direct this new commission tonight as we work together to make our city better. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, welcome everybody. Big crowd here. Happy New Year to everybody. Our first course of business. You can't hear me? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, IT. Is that better?
Lean into it.
She says again.
Lean into it.
Is that better? Okay, thank you. My microphone usually picks me up from a distance. Once again, Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you. See such a strong crowd out here. Our first course of business tonight is an installation of new commissioners. I'll defer to our city clerk. Is it? That's funny. Yeah.
I, Allison Berry,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
I will support,
I will support,
protect, and defend
protect, and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
and government of the United States
and government of the United States
and the state of Florida,
and the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified
that I am duly qualified
to hold office
to hold office
under the Constitution of the state,
under the Constitution of the state,
and I will well and faithfully
and I will well and faithfully
perform the duties of City Commissioner
perform the duties of City Commissioner
of the City of Leesburg, Florida,
of the City of Leesburg, Florida,
on which I'm about to enter,
on which I am about to enter,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
She gets again.
Thank you.
Mr. Reisman? Excuse me. I, Alan Reisman,
I, Alan Reisman,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
I will support,
I will support,
protect, and defend
protect, and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
and government of the United States
and government of the United States
and the state of Florida,
and the state of Florida.
that I am duly qualified
I am duly qualified
to hold office
to hold office
under the Constitution of the state,
under the Constitution of the state,
and I will well and faithfully
I will well and faithfully
perform the duties of City Commissioner
perform the duties of City Commissioner
of the City of Leesburg, Florida,
of the City of Leesburg, Florida,
on which I'm about to enter.
on which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. I, Mike Peterson,
I, Mike Peterson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
I will support,
I will support,
protect, and defend
protect, and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution,
and government of the United States
the government of the United States,
and the state of Florida,
and the state of Florida.
that I am duly qualified
I am duly qualified
to hold office
to hold office
under the Constitution of the state,
under the Constitution of the state.
and I will well and faithfully
I will well and faithfully
perform the duties of City Commissioner
perform the duties of City Commissioner
of the City of Leesburg, Florida,
of the City of Leesburg, Florida,
on which I'm about to enter.
on which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. There we go. Okay. So next course of, can you hear me? Okay, next course of business, electing the mayor. Our standard operating procedure is for the chair, myself, to delegate my authority to our city manager.
I get to hold it?
Yes, so I get to pass the gavel. So I am going to nominate Jimmy Burry for mayor.
So Mr. Burry has been nominated for mayor. Any other nominations? Seeing none, Mr. Burry is the mayor. Your gavel, sir.
All right. Does that go around there? Musical chairs tonight. We're left-handed, so you're gonna have. And I need
We're gonna be bumping elbows.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay. So the next order of business, let's see, is to elect a mayor pro tem. The floor is open for nominations.
Motion to appoint Commissioner Jay Connell.
Jay,
Second.
any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
You don't need a roll call on it, do we? Okay. Mayor Pro Tem? Okay. We have a plaque. Do you want to do a picture? Oh, God.
Yes, sir.
Let me read it. Okay. We're presenting a plaque to Mike Peterson in recognition of your leadership and dedication to public service as mayor of Leesburg for 2022 by the City Commission this day, January the 9th, 2023. Okay, so we have a plaque for outgoing commissioners, but we'll
We'll do the, commissioners, or former commissioners, Christian and Roba couldn't make it this evening. So we typically have a plaque for them. We'll present it at another time.
Okay. All right. Okay, moving forward to the appointments. These will be commission appointments for 2023. So we'll just start at the top with the Personnel Committee. Currently, Commissioner Christian and Mayor Peterson, or ex-Mayor Peterson, are on that committee. So we'll need to replace Mayor Christian. Do we have any volunteers?
I'd be glad to do that one.
Okay. Everybody good with that? Okay, so next is the,
Two.
what's that?
That one needs two.
Mike, you going to stay?
I would
Yes.
Okay, excuse me?
You're
No?
welcome to have it if you want.
Okay, thank you. I would be interested, please.
Oh, okay, wonderful. So that's, so we've got, okay. Leave my pen over there. All right, so moving forward to the Lake Community Action Agency Board of Directors. The representative was John Christian, and I was the alternate.
I would be interested in that one as well, please.
Would you like to be the representative?
Yes.
That'd be wonderful. And I would volunteer to be the alternate on that. Okay. The Lake County League of Cities Board of Directors representative was Mike Peterson, and Jay was our alternate. Do we have any shakeups?
And I would like to be replaced on that one.
Okay,
I would like to take that, Effie. That's okay.
all right. And the alternative was Commissioner Connell.
Sure, that'd be fun.
No, wait. Oh, you're right. Yeah. Okay, so you're good with that?
Sure, yes.
Okay. All right. So the next was the Florida League of Cities. The representative was Mike Peterson. Our alternate was Commissioner Christian. So
I'm looking at Al. I'm happy to continue that unless it needs to go with the Lake County League of Cities.
No, that was Lake, where's the
They're not
Lake
connected.
League is connected to TDC.
Yes.
Yeah. No,
I'm
it's
okay.
not.
Okay, I'll stay there.
okay, so the Florida League of Cities will be Mike. I said we need an alternate.
Florida League of Cities, I thought I was on that one.
But you're
That's
Lake
the
County.
Lake
Oh, I'm
County
County.
League.
That's why
Sorry.
I just asked if they're different. You're fine.
Sorry.
You can do both if you want.
We got you where you need to be.
Okay.
So I'll pick up the alternate on that. Okay, the next is the MPO, the Metropolitan Planning Organization. That was Commissioner Roebuck, and I was the alternate. I'll volunteer to do the representative.
I'll do alternate if you're okay with that.
Okay. Okay. The St. Johns River Water Management District Liaison, that was me. Anybody want to? I'll do that.
Sam's laughing out
Get a lot of help there, guys. Okay, so next would be the Florida Municipal Power Agency. We've had the representative as Brad Chase and Al as the alternate.
Yeah, on these two, I would just ask that the next two, FMPA, Florida Municipal Power Agency, and the FMEA, Florida Municipal Electric Association, those are typically pretty cumbersome assignments because of the technicalities involved with it, so we've typically deferred those to staff. Brad, our electric director, has typically served as a representative. I've served as the alternate, and Jim Williams has served as the second alternate. And under the FMEA, we've had Brad represent us, and I've been the alternate. So I would ask humbly that the commission continue that process.
And that's fine with me.
Sounds good to me.
Good. That's fine.
Okay. Okay, so the next would be then the Florida Municipal Power Agency Policy Makers Liaison Committee. And I will volunteer. I've been the alternate. Commissioner Roebuck was representative. I'll take over for Dan, if that's okay.
And I'm happy to be the alternate.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Then we have the Leesburg Center for the Arts.
I would be interested.
Awesome. You all right with that, Mike?
I'm fine. Thank you, Allison. Commissioner Barry.
All right. And then we have the Leesburg Partnership. I have been the representative. Commissioner Connell was the alternate. Do we have anybody want to take that position?
I can take it.
You want to do the lead
Sure.
on that?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll take alternate.
Okay. All right. Okay, then we have our advisory boards. Or
First, we need a motion and a second.
motion to, okay, so as a group, can we get a motion to accept those?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Connell,
Yes.
Commissioner Berry,
Yes.
Commissioner Reisman,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Burry.
Yes. Okay, so moving on to the representatives each of us appoints to the Airport Board, the Leesburg Public Art Advisory Board, Parks and Recreation. We'll start, does anyone have any changes? Or I guess we're going to have Alan
Yeah.
and Allison will have new appointees, or?
And Jay was my appointee, so he'll have a new one as well.
Okay. All right, so on the, my appointment to the Airport Advisory Board is still Joel Hargis, no change there.
Yeah, mine is unchanged.
Okay.
Good. Mike Peterson's good. Jay, yours?
Daryl Crane.
Daryl Crane is going to be, okay.
Mine will be Byron Oldham.
Okay, so. And Allison?
And mine will be retired Colonel Marvin King.
All right. Okay, moving on to the Leesburg Public Art Advisory Board. Mine has not changed.
Mine is not changing.
Okay. Jay has,
Yes, Daryl went to the airport, so Mr. Tyson.
Tyson?
Yes.
Okay,
And mine will remain Mrs. Wanda Parker.
okay,
And I will keep Roebuck's appointment as Daniel Stroud.
gotcha. Perfect. Okay. Moving next to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. I have Roger Croft, and he's staying in the position.
Yeah, and mine's unchanged as well, Joni Smalley.
Okay.
I have appointed Deborah Wanza Dabney.
Okay.
I'm keeping the Roebuck's appointed Mr. Sistarsek. Jack.
Okay.
And mine is the same, Clay Bell.
Clay Bell. Okay. No changes there. Great. Okay. So can we get a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner Berry,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Reisman,
Yes.
Commissioner Connell,
Yes.
Mayor Burry.
Yes. And that concludes our organizational meeting. Do we have any procurement analysis for us, Al? Or,
No, sir.
Not sure what that was. Okay. So do we have any city manager items?
No, sir.
Okay. Roll call.
Commissioner Connell,
Nothing.
Commissioner Peterson,
I just want to congratulate our newest commissioners. I look forward to working with both of them. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Commissioner Berry,
Nothing.
Commissioner Reisman,
I want to thank all the people that supported my campaign, my family, my friends. I wouldn't be here without you guys, so thank you.
and Mayor Burry.
Nothing tonight. We'll see where this goes. Okay, so we're going to
That's
adjourn this meeting, and we'll have 10 minutes before we can start the next meeting.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We'll call to order City Commission meeting for Monday, January the 9th, 2023. The time is 5:33. We've had the invocation and the pledge at the previous meeting, so we'll forgo those things. Proclamations, we have none. Presentations, we have none. Public comments, this section is reserved for members of the public to bring up matters of concern or opportunities for praise. Issues brought up will not... Is that even in there? Okay. Issues, let's see, where was it? Issues brought up will not be discussed in detail at this meeting. Issues will either be referred to the proper staff or will be scheduled for consideration at a future City Commission meeting. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Is it better?
Hey, you want to go? So you want to public comments in that, and then go back into presentations, give John his plaque.
Oh, you want to do that?
Yeah, he just popped in.
As there are no public comments, we're going to have a special presentation for John Christian. If he would come up, we've got a plaque for you.
We saw you sneak in.
I just want to read this for everybody. It says, presented to John H. Christian in appreciation for 19 years of distinguished public service as City Commissioner and Mayor of the City of Leesburg, 2004 through 2022, by the Mayor and the Commissioners this day, January the 9th, 2023.
Congratulations.
Hey.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you, everyone.
Moving on, we'll go to the consent agenda. Routine items are placed on the consent agenda to expedite the meeting. Expedite, how about that? Expedite. If the commission or the staff wish to discuss any item, the procedure is as follows. Pull the item from the consent agenda, vote on remaining items with one roll call vote, discuss each pulled item, and vote by roll call. Are there any items that we need to pull?
None by me.
I have several, 5C1, 5C5, 5C6, 5C7.
Any others? Okay. So we need a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Connell,
Yes.
Commissioner Berry,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Reisman,
Yes.
Mayor Burry.
Yes. Okay, now moving to the pulled items. Would someone please introduce Resolution C1?
I'll introduce and ask to be read by title only.
Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, accepting the donation of certain real property from Tammy Blackwood, Kelvin Nimmo, and Dale Nimmo with conditions, authorizing the mayor and/or special magistrate to execute releases of code enforcement orders and liens against the property, authorizing the mayor and/or city manager to execute a deed conveying the property to Habitat for Humanity on the condition that the property be used in connection with the Leesburg Construction Trade Program and providing an effective date.
So moved.
Yeah, to say I wasn't able to really speak to Al today. He was tied up in meetings. I just wanted clarification. There's presently code enforcement liens in this property, and if we release the liens, they're just going to flat give us the property, or what are the conditions of this?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So this is about a 3-acre parcel located on Penn Street, just a little bit south of Griffin Road, behind, if you will, the Takis and the Walgreens and the Burger King, and I think there's somebody else in there too. Currently, the lot has been under several different code enforcement liens. It's a majority of it's wooded, and we do have a lot of homeless conditions in that. So the parcel is blighted. Hence the reason why it has so many different code violations that are pending. In total, it's got about $42,000 in liens on it, and those liens have got to the point to where they've just built and more are adding. So for ease of explanation, the Blackman, the Blackwood Trust, it's a family that's led by, all their names are in the resolution, but it's a family that owns it. They're all siblings of they're all siblings, and the ownership of the property was in their family that was put in the trust. Tammy speaks on behalf of the trust, but Kelvin Ninemo and Dale are brothers of Tammy, and obviously Blackwood is her married name. So we were approached by the Blackwood Trust, and they bought the parcel long ago, and they just got to a point to where they really can't develop it. And they don't want to have the liens on the property. So in exchange for waiving the liens, they asked the city if we had a use for the property. So in typical, again, code enforcement fines, again, that we're not, the purpose behind the code enforcement fines is not to be punitive. They're not supposed to be a revenue maker for us. They're supposed to be the stick to the owner to come into compliance with the code so that the property is a good one that adds value to community. And obviously, this property does not at this time. So the Blackwood Trust asked if we'd be interested, and as it turned out, when they approached me, I said yes, absolutely. And the day they approached me, it was just good timing because that was the day I had left the ribbon cutting for the Leesburg High School constructions trade over here on East Main. So for the past 4 years, we've, through Romac Construction and Habitat, the program is run through Habitat, and then they hook back with Leesburg High School to run the Construction Trades Academy, whereby the high school teaches the trades to the students, so plumbing, electric, everything involved with constructing a house. For the past 4 years, the academy has built a house. We gave them the initial property, if you recall, off 12th Street, going on 4 years ago now. I think that the second year they got another house that was donated to them out in unincorporated lake off of Pixiola. After that house, they came back to us and said, do we have any other property? So we scurried through the records and provided the property on East Main. So that's just south of what used to be the steel, what was the Metro Steel, and then we purchased it, and basically that's PW Public Works headquarters, and so that was a splittable lot, so we split that, and so they built 2 houses now. So as the story goes, the day I was leaving that area, got Habitat, and Don Magruder tapped me on the shoulder, said, find us some more property, Menor. And so I went on the to-do pad, and as soon as it was on the to-do pad, the Blackwood Trust was in my office. So I got an idea. So that's the concept. In exchange for that parcel, we waive the fines, then we donate it to Habitat, and then Habitat uses it for the Construction Trades Academy. We think they can probably get maybe 4 or 5 houses on that. To throw out some more issues on here, because of the size of that parcel, it will serve Habitat for a few years now. I think it's a good location for it because even though the Highway 27 is commercial, the Penn Street side is residential. So I still think it fits in well for the housing. building. So it provides housing for the needy. It provides feedback for, and it works in partnership with the construction trades at the high school. And by the way, the construction trade stuff is Mr. Brandenburg still here? I don't know. I know he was being a school board member, but the school board's been pretty significant and very supportive of Leesburg's High School Construction Academy as well. So in any case, one more thing on that was I actually spoke with Mr. Rankin at LPG, and they may be willing to do some pro bono work to help them subdivide the property and do some planning. So that resolution, there's probably 3 or 4 more steps. I don't mean to be so wordy on this, but it is a big give, but it's a good give for a good program. And there's still some more steps in there, like doing the subdivision, like doing we got to do the quit claim from us to Habitat. They still got to. So there's about 3 steps in that process, and that resolution allows myself and the city attorney to execute all those things on behalf of the city commission.
Sure.
Al, may I ask, what type of homes with the Habitat? What type of homes will they be building?
They'll be residential, single family, typically 1 story in the neighborhood of about 1,000 square feet. I think the flavor of what they'll look like is what's existing there on East Main and on 12th Street. So they'll be attractive houses. I think they'll add to the community. It'll take care of some of the blight and homeless and trash and accumulation of weeds and debris and stuff that's in that hurts that neighborhood now. So I think it benefits the Penn Street neighborhood because it'll bring some nice housing to the area. That will definitely complement and improve the corridor.
And how will the candidates be chosen to be available for Habitat?
I'm not sure how Habitat does that, but that's been through Habitat. I understand that they pick families in need, which probably goes back to LMI, low to moderate income families.
Any other questions, discussion?
If you want.
Okay. So move for approval?
Yeah, it's already, you have it, so.
We already did the second.
Okay, so all we need to do is roll call? Okay.
Ready?
Roll call.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Reisman?
Yes.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Mayor Burry?
Yes. Okay, now we have Resolution 5C5. Would somebody introduce that, please?
Introduced and asked to be read by title only.
Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, approving a downtown Leesburg building redevelopment grant to Brick City Hospitality Group, LLC, for renovations at 215 West Main Street and providing an effective date.
Move for approval.
Second.
You want to hit that one up too for you?
Well, no, I'm assuming it's structured like the other ones that
5 and 6.
that we're just
Yep.
going to give them $250,000 with no strings attached at all. They don't have no time limit on having to own the building, get it open, nothing. Just make the improvements and do whatever they want to.
Same conversation. Everything is reimbursement basis. The only 2 things I'll add on this again is A, you already see the construction activity going, and B, the company, Brick and somebody is pretty reputable firm. It's right.
Brick City.
Brick City
Brick
Hospitality.
City, yeah, Brick City from Ocala. A reputable firm. Commissioner, you know how I feel about this, and I know where you stand. So.
Well, I was going to say, from the get-go, I've said I have no problem with the concept of what we're trying to do, but I do believe there should be some requirements if we're going to be giving $250,000 away, that they should have to own it for a certain length of time, and they should have to get it open, not just make the improvements and do whatever they want to do with it. I just don't feel like that's the intent. We're trying to redevelop downtown with business, not give $250,000 to outside developers just to come in here and make some quick money and sell it. I don't know. Every time this comes up, I'm going to bring it up because like I said, until we get something in place, I agree with the concept, what we're trying to do. I just don't agree with not having any requirements attached to giving that kind of money away.
Commissioner Cannell and I, we've had this debate. This will be the fourth time it's come up, so I won't get into my rebuttal. But just for clarification to the crowd, they're putting $1 million in this building. So the owner's putting $750,000, and we're matching it with $250,000. So just for clarification purposes.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Reisman?
Yes.
Commissioner Connell?
No.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Mayor Burry?
Yes. Would someone please introduce item 5C6?
Introduced and asked to be read by title only.
Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, approving a facade, sign, and landscape grant to Brick City Hospitality Group, LLC, for renovations at 215 West Main Street and providing an effective date.
Move for approval.
Second.
Discussion.
Same comments.
Now, this is on the facade grant.
That's correct, yes.
So
But it's still giving them money.
So should all facade grants then have to have some?
I think anytime we give free money away, there should be some regulations attached to it.
Okay.
Not just make the improvements and let them walk away. I mean, I just think we should have some type of attachments to that money. They have to do something within a certain time period. They have to get the business open, not just make the improvements and sell it and pocket our money, basically. I just don't think that's right.
Yeah. The theory of the last program, the $1 million grant program, and this program are to help revitalize downtown, and I'm okay with this one because these people are putting substantial money. I think this is 80 to 100,000 total
I think their number in that was 300 exterior.
on the facade.
I think
It's a big number is my point.
I'm going from memory, but it's the numbers in the packets.
Okay, so it's-
and I believe the redevelopment of the building, so interior and structural stuff for the redevelopment, downtown old building redevelopment grant, they listed about $1 million of improvement, and I think on the exterior stuff that qualifies for FSL was about 300.
Okay, so now they're putting $1,300,000
$1,300,000
plus,
into the
and we're
building,
putting in
and we're putting in
270.
275.
Okay.
Or 270.
And if someone's investing that kind of money in our downtown, I don't care if they flip it tomorrow. They've just put $1 million in my downtown.
And we really have two different items. I certainly understand your hesitancy on the first item, but how many of these facade grants have we done now?
Yeah, this one is atypical. So Commissioner Cannell's concerns about not wanting to flip. Typically, the facade, sign, landscape, it goes to existing businesses.
Right.
So this is two now that would be atypical. That goes more towards redevelopment downtown, but they're still qualifying for the qualifiers. So of all the sign grants we've gave, don't hold me to the number. I'm getting you in the ballpark. Probably about 30, 35 since inception. Over the past 5-6 years, we've done the program, and only 2 have been to businesses kind of unnamed. To date, which would be and I don't know if I would put the Palace in that because their purpose was the existing business of Hags downstairs, the improvements to the theater. Second story is office, and third was residential. So they had a plan. This one is going to be some type of commercial venture, which we don't know. It's some type of restaurant, eatery is the proposal, and multifamily upstairs.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Connell?
No.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Reisman?
Yes.
Mayor Burry?
Yes. Would someone introduce 5C7?
I'll introduce, has to be read by title only.
Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a renewal lease agreement with the West Leesburg Community Development Corporation for office space at the Leesburg Resource Center and providing an effective date.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, that was another one that I had some questions about. Like I said, I wasn't able to connect with Al today on who is the Leesburg Community Development. What do they do? And this is a renewal on their lease. So is the lease going up, or are we just going to lease it back to them at the proposed same price they've been paying for the last 3 years?
Yeah, okay, so the West Leesburg CDC, and I told you wrong now that I need to look at this. The West Leesburg CDC is a development corporation similar to East Leesburg CDC, but their focus is specifically more the Carver Heights area. They had used facilities that we leased to them, if I remember correctly, kind of near Berry Park. Once we built the resource center, we leased an office to them in the resource center. So this is that lease that just continuates that. All the terms remain the same.
And there is no fee, correct?
That's correct.
There is no fee.
There is no fee.
There's no rental rate.
Yeah, there's
in that.
no fee. They
That's right.
use one office in the resource center.
It was a service-based rental payment of sorts that they would provide services in lieu of rent.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Any other questions? Roll call.
Commissioner Berry,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Reisman,
Yes.
Commissioner Connell,
Yes.
Mayor Burry.
Yes. Okay. Moving on to public hearings and non-routine items. We have no second readings tonight, so we have some first readings. If someone would please introduce first reading 6B1 and 2, we could discuss those.
I'll introduce 6B1 and 2. Ask that they be read by title only.
An ordinance amending the future land use map of the comprehensive plan of the City of Leesburg, changing the future land use map designation of certain property containing 11 plus minus acres from City of Leesburg low density residential to City of Leesburg industrial for a property generally located west of Flatwoods Road, north of Castine Road, and south of Parkway Boulevard, lying in Section 29, Township 19 South, Range 24 East, Lake County, Florida, and providing an effective date. 6B2, an ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, changing the zoning on approximately 11 plus minus acres from City of Leesburg R2 medium density residential to City of Leesburg PUD planned unit development to allow for the development of a 5,000 square foot office and 40,000 square feet warehouse facilities for metal structures / carports for a property generally located west of Flatwoods Road, north of Castine Road, and south of Parkway Boulevard, lying in Section 29, Township 19 South, Range 24 East, Lake County, Florida, and providing an effective date.
Discussion.
I don't have any comments on this one.
Dan, you have anything for us that
Would you like me to describe it or do anything?
I'm fine.
at the commissioner's choice? Okay. This will hold over. This will be the second reading will be on the 23rd. Is
Yes,
that
sir.
what we got done? So that's in 2 weeks on this issue. So we won't vote on that. We'll just move on to, would someone please introduce what you got?
Just a second,
We're on. So we need 6B3, please.
Introduce has to be read by title only.
An ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, amending future land use element, policy 1.1.6, to remove references to project acreage and the project boundary map, as well as to clarify that town centers are mixed-use centers, amending the villages of Westlake project boundary to reflect the newly added lands, amending the future land use map of the comprehensive plan of the City of Leesburg by changing the future land use map designation of certain property containing 18.34 plus minus acres from institutional to age-restricted development for a property located south of County Road 470 and east of the Florida Turnpike, lying in Section 17, Township 20 South, Range 24 East, Lake County, Florida, and providing an effective date.
Discussion?
Hey, just a quick info on this one. This is, as you recall, I don't know, a few years ago, Villages bought that 18 acres from us on the south side of the S-curve of 470. They want to process this as a large-scale amendment, so that means it needs to be reviewed by the state. They've requested that even, and remember, so the number is 50 acres. Anything bigger than 50 acres is considered large-scale, which needs Reviewed by the Department of Economic Opportunity, right? I won't mistake it and call it Community Affairs. That dates me. But in any case, so they have reason to do that because it blends in with all the other ARD properties and more formal process. We don't have issue with that. So with this lays over until you don't have time certain on this yet. It goes to the state. When it comes back, then you read it for second reading. So it won't be at the next meeting.
Dan?
You
Mr.
wanna add to that?
Manager, I just was asked by the applicant that due to this being a transmittal hearing, because it is a large-scale amendment, they like to have the opportunity to accept public comment on it.
Sure. This one and the next item, Dan?
I'm sorry, sir?
This and the next item? Public
Yes,
comment?
sir.
Okay.
Just this is the one, I'm sorry, just the comp plan is the one that goes to the state. The zoning stays here.
Right.
So it's just this one.
Any other discussion from the commission? Public comment?
Good evening, Commissioners. Darren Taylor with the Villages, representing the applicant. Just the only reason I was making the comment was just because it is a transmittal hearing that we would need a vote from the commission to make sure that the amendment is sent to the state. That's why we need the commission actually has to decide to transmit the amendment to the department, and that's why we were just wanting to make sure we got that vote so that it would go forward with the process. And I'm just here to answer any questions you might have.
I'll refer to Grant on.
Yes, sir. He's correct. So if a motion to approve and transmit to the state would be appropriate if that's pleasing to the commission.
Okay.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Connell,
Yes.
Commissioner Berry,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Reisman,
Yes.
Mayor Burry.
Yes. All right, so we're going to move on to, let's see, where are we, Andy? We're at
6B4.
6B4. Someone introduce that, please.
Introduced has to be read by title only.
An ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, changing the zoning on approximately 18.34 plus minus acres from P Public to ARD Age Restricted Development for a property generally located south of County Road 470 and east of the Florida Turnpike, lying in Section 17, Township 20 South, Range 24 East, Lake County, Florida, and providing an effective date.
Do we have any public comment? Any discussion from the commissioners? Roll call. Oh, we don't. Do we need that for not for this?
No, sir. It was my understanding it was only for the comprehensive plan amendment that the transmittal would need to be made.
Okay. All right. That'll lay over till the next meeting? Or
No, that lays
actually,
over
we're
till it
looking
comes
at
back to the
certain.
state.
Right. Okay. Okay. So we'll move on to item 5, please.
I'll introduce 6B5 and ask that it be read by title only.
An ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, to modify the Chapter 163 Development Agreement between the Villages of Westlake Area A for the development of approximately 1,400 acres, providing a binding agreement and amendments for long-term development, including but not limited to density, intensity, land uses and process, approving development rights and land development regulations for a property generally located near Florida's Turnpike, the Lake and Sumter County line, and north of County Road 470, as legally described in Sections 6, 7, 8, 9, and 16, Township 20 South, Range 24 East, Lake County, Florida, and providing an effective date.
Discussion.
No comments here.
Al, you got anything on this? You need public comment? This will lay over until the next meeting, or the next
meeting.
It is coming up next. Okay. Date certain. Okay. Let's move on to item 6.
Introduced and asked to be read by title only.
An ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, to modify the Chapter 163 Development Agreement between the Villages of Westlake, Area B, for the development of approximately 1,230 acres, providing a binding agreement and amendments for long-term development, including but not limited to density, intensity, land uses, and process, approving development rights and land development regulations for property generally located near Florida's Turnpike, the Lake and Sumter County line, and east and west of County Road 48, as legally described in Section 31, Township 20 South, Range 24 East, and Sections 5, 6, and 7, Township 21 South, Range 24 East, Lake County, Florida, and providing an effective date.
We have to lay over.
Lays over till next meeting.
So it'll just lay over, this will lay over until the next meeting? Any public discussion? We'll move on to non-routine items. Item C. Someone introduce that, please.
Introduced and asked to be read by title only.
6C1 is a proposal to the City of Leesburg, Florida for design engineering services to add a fluoride injection system to the water distribution system and Florida Department of Health fluoridation grant application update.
So
You're looking at me. You got to move for approval.
yeah, we need,
Motion for approval.
I'll second it, but just so we can have a discussion on it.
okay, discussion?
I mean, I'm not for it. I mean, the people in my district are not for it, and I don't think we should force it on to people who just don't want it in their drinking water, and it's a tremendous cost, too. You know, I mean, this day and age, I mean, you got practically every toothpaste has fluoride in it. There's mouthwashes that have fluoride in it, and, you know, there has been some debate that, you know, too much fluoride for people is not a good thing. So, like I said, I've spoke to my community. They don't want it, and I don't think we should force it on people who don't want it. And, I mean, the bill on this thing is, I mean, practically $700,000. And then it's an annual, you know, maintenance and chemical bill every year.
Do you want me to give a staff summary real quick?
Real
Okay,
quick.
so for everybody in the public, and this has been an item now we've talked about maybe 6 months or so, maybe since the summer in different ways. So the question that this resolution ponders is to consider or not consider adding fluoride into the city's drinking water. So brief recap. I think it's reasonable to say that adding fluoride to the drinking water was probably one of the greatest, and I think most folks will tell you that of the top 10 public health things that have been accomplished in the nation, you know, probably number one was the creation of an antibiotic, and on the top 5 list of that was adding fluoride to the drinking water, which probably came out from the FDA in the 40s. So I think everybody considers that this was a good accomplishment. Probably by the early 2000s, there's some schools of thought that state we really don't need to add this anymore. The reason for that being, one, advancements in fluoride and topical solutions and dental care and these type of things. So probably in the early 2000s, maybe the 90s, some communities stopped adding fluoride to the water. By and large today, I think the number is probably 80% of American communities still add fluoride to the public drinking water. The city of Leesburg stopped doing this in the early 2000s. We stopped doing it because it was part of the wastewater. not wastewater, water, public drinking water, different fund. Sorry, everybody. There's no wastewater in the water. I appreciate everybody laughing at the levity of that era. But as part of the water treatment plant upgrade in the 2000s, we stopped. And we stopped for two reasons. One was financial. When in the 2000s, many utility systems started moving into a SCADA system. I don't know what the acronym stands for, but SCADA systems are the acronym for how we remotely monitor systems, whether that's gas, water, sewer, electric, automatically closing valves, automatically reading pressures and the like, automatically injecting treatments into water, and those things. So when we were in the process of updating the SCADA system that would add fluoride into the water, we opted not to, for the simple reason it saved money. The other side of the equation is there is a safety factor there with not having to deal with another chemical. Mind you, too, we deal with bleach. Bleach goes in your water. We deal with fluoride. We deal with a bunch of different chemicals. So one less, I think it's reason. So I don't know how to tip that scale, because we pay our folks to deal with chemicals. And they do it. We do it safely and reasonably with personal protective equipment. But not having to do one more is it's a relief to them. Other side of the equation is the argument is fluoride has continued to be needed in the water. It's an advantage for folks of low to moderate income who don't have the resources to get the latest and greatest dental care and those type of things. So the argument has kind of continued. The argument was brought to this body from folks in the community who are advocates of putting fluoride in the water. They brought it to the attention of a couple commissioners. Commissioner Burry, you brought this to our attention. I researched the matter. We've talked about it. This is time number 3. So the last meeting I think we had probably 60, 90 days ago was move forward with it. So we've moved forward it in 2 ways. Way one was to get an RFP for design parameters, because every project we do, we go from a concept, we want to do this phase, we got to design it phase, then we got to build it phase. So we went through that concept, ideal phase, and the commission, I think 3-2 vote said continue to move forward and go to the next phase. We did that. That is a result of the Dewberry contract. Dewberry engineering contract is what you're voting on. It's I think it's $80,400 to be exact, to design the improvements that are needed at the treatment facilities to put in the pumps, put in the equipment, do the protections that are required. We got to add some protections and some storage and some chemical. So there's some designs that need to go into place. We were also tasked with, there's grant money that's available where FDEP, either FDEP or the Department of Health. Help me, Cliff.
Florida Department of Health.
It's Florida Department of Health. The Florida Department of Health promulgates and suggests that you put fluoride in your water. To that extent, we were hoping that there would be some grant dollars. So when we talked about this last, we provided you with rough estimates from our consulting engineers. Those rough estimates were about $100,000 to design, $500,000 to build, and about $75,000 annually to put fluoride in the water a year. I recommended to you that those aren't numbers that break the bank. I think that the funds can adopt and afford those numbers. So to report back to you on that, we're still pretty much in that window until Dewberry finishes some design. So, I'm about 20 grand under what we said on the estimate. So 80 grand is the proposal to do the design work. Now, the grant money is out there. What we did find, it's everything that we're doing pretty much is a qualifier for grant reimbursement. The design expense is a reimbursement, the pumps, the hardware, almost everything that Dewberry is in their contract that they're saying they need to do and that we need to build is reimbursable. So that's the good news. The bad news is the grant programs don't say how much it's reimbursable, 80/20. They say it's reimbursable and they fund it. Our homework showed that throughout the state, on the state's fiscal year, 150 grand is what they have statewide. Now, nobody's tapped into those funds yet. That issue hasn't come. So if we're lucky, there's 150 grand. If we're even luckier, there might be other pots of money that we can start going into that will help cover that. I'm going to be a realist, and I'm going to say be prepared that the most we're going to get is $1.50. That doesn't mean we won't get more. I'm just being real. There's probably about $1.50 is what we'll get. Dewberry put the time parameters in their proposal. I think they're about 6 months for design. Then we go out to bid, and I think they look somewhere in the winter, this time next year, where construction would actually start with 6 months for construction. That timeline is in the proposal. I think I remember that correctly. So to start getting grant money, we need Dewberry probably to get to 30-40% design complete, so then we can take that data and start hitting up Department of Health to say, to start applying for some monies. That's our report. So we're at the stage to where if you want to move forward with this and put fluoride in the water, then you vote yes. If you think it's an unnecessary expense, then you vote no. I will say that if you do vote yes, there's still one more bite of public input that's to come from you when the contracts come before the commission to approve.
Any other discussion from commissioners?
I'll echo Commissioner Connell in speaking with the residents, my neighbors. They're all against it. So
I'll make a few comments. This has been a tough one. I've spoke with my friends in the dental industry, and I was heavily in favor of it. And I guess two things bother me now. Number one, help me out, Al. The consumption. Al did some math for me, and it came out to conservatively 98% of our water is not being drank. Al can help me out with the math, but Al can look at our total water usage.
You put me on the spot. That's what you picked.
I can recite it.
Let me say this. So, look, Al doesn't. I don't want to talk in the third person. I think you guys know my management style has been to fall on the sword and be very vocal when I think things are extremely instrumental.
Well, I will qualify that I asked you to do this for me.
I know, but still, I got you. But so that's important. So I understand both sides of this equation. You asked me to do that math, and so here's the math. We know that about 2% of our water. No, the number is 1%. 1% of the water that we sell is consumed, potentially. 1% of the water that we sell to a single-family residential household may be consumed. That's a factual number.
And that assumes a person drinks 1 gallon per day.
Because this is what we know. We know that the average residential unit in Leesburg uses 250 gallons of water a day. So of that, if they say you want to drink a gallon of water. So if you've got 2.8 people in your household, which is the typical, and they each drink a gallon of water a day, that's 2.8 gallons divided by 250, and that math is 199. So
1.21.
1.21%. That was the number you wanted. The rest of it is going on a yard. You're taking a shower with it. You're washing your dishes with it. You're flushing your toilets with it. 1% is drink.
My other comment is, because this has been, and this sounds like a cop-out, but because this has been so controversial, I worry that future commissions could easily come in here and reverse this in 2, 4, 6 years. So all the money up front is gone, which is $600,000 plus or minus. So that tugs at me as well. And I will say this has been a tough one for me, but I'll stop right there.
So my comments will be more along the lines of public health. This proposition is endorsed by the American Dental Association. It's endorsed by the American Medical Association. It's endorsed by the National Institute of Health. It is endorsed by the CDC, and it is endorsed by the Florida Department of Health. This is a good idea for your community. There are members of your community who are underserved in their dental abilities to see a dentist, to have fluoride treatments, to all the things that many of us take for granted. There are many members of our community who don't have that luxury, and this is a very cheap way, when you balance it out through the community, to help your community, and I'm all for it.
And like I said, I just want to be neutral here, so I don't want any of the information that I gave to lead the vote either way. Everything that Commissioner Burry said is correct. I mean, it is, putting fluoride in the water is still seen as a universal way to improve your health through ensuring that you don't have dental decays. And there are portions of the community that don't have the dental options that most folks do. And even though we're talking big numbers, you guys deal with our budgets. You know big numbers, and $500,000 and $80,000. Yeah, that's a big number to us personally. But in our enterprise funds, those aren't big numbers. And I think the argument there is that if you spend that amount, it has a more significant impact to help those who aren't as fortunate as everybody else, and it provides a public health benefit. Hence why the organizations that Commissioner Burry said support putting fluoride in the water. The only other thing I will say is I know that there are those that don't want the government to put other stuff in the drinking water. All I can assure those folks is what we put in the water is safe. We do it to levels that are regulated by the state and the federal government. We are required to report that back to the state, and we had the communities, as most communities do, have a very good, unless you're in Michigan, but I shouldn't say that. That was levity there. But most public drinking water organizations have a good record. And no matter what, if you add fluoride into your water, the customers in Leesburg need to know that their drinking water is still safe, consumable. And there's the argument that putting fluoride in it will make it that much better for you. So I hope I presented it both sides. And we'll take the direction of the commission.
I just want to expand on what Commissioner Peterson said. I agree with you. I agree with you that almost 99% of the water that we're going to be putting fluoride in is going to be used for other purposes other than consumption. And it's a huge number for 1% that somebody might consume. And, and that's on the assumption that the majority of the people's not drinking this.
Does that have fluoride in it?
I seriously doubt it. I mean,
I bet it does.
I bet it does not. But my point is, bottled water is a big thing anymore. So.
Any other points from the commission?
I would like to add, I can speak for my constituents in District 1. I am sure that majority are not able or qualified to receive dental care as easily as others. And I'm sure fluoride treatments are definitely one of the reasons, as I can remember as a child getting them. So that will probably be less fortunate. I understand the price and the dollars that are in question. However, overall, it's minimum concerning health and welfare of people who need. So I'm kind of sitting in the same place of good and bad and thinking that something to be considered. I'm listening to both, but I think it's very important to try to be as healthy and provide the best for our community.
I may regret saying this to the commission, but I just thought an idea. Maybe I think Al already told me it was a crazy idea, but we have the $600,000 up front. We're estimating about $75,000 a year. Because this is so controversial, I'm not saying we can't bring it back. I'm sure it will come back, but what if we set aside tried $50,000 a year, targeted for low to moderate income people for fluoride treatments or something else. Just because I am sensitive to lower income, trying to help them. Maybe this is just a Band-Aid as we work through this and give the community more time. But I'd rather put it, if it's this controversial, let's set aside $50,000, $75,000 a year and use it. So I know it's another program, it's more work, but use it toward low moderate income people for dental work or fluoride treatments. Just an idea I'll throw out to the commission.
Any other comment from the commissioners? Do we have any public comment?
I'd like to talk. Excuse me. Thank you. Well, all the time I was on the commission, I mean, we always had fluoride in the water. I mean, it was just there. Nobody said yay or nay. I mean, it was just wonderful. And my daughter didn't have any cavities, but that generation and other generations, when I was a kid in Leesburg, I remember Dr. Duncan painting fluoride on my teeth. But it's something, and I don't know, the city commission snuck it out at some point. You said in the 2000s?
It was about then. It was the early 2000s when we upgraded the tank.
I certainly didn't know. I wasn't on it then. And then later somebody said, and I said, what, we don't have fluoride in the water anymore? So I was just thoroughly, upset that we didn't still have it, because I think it's a great thing to have for the citizens, like everything else that we do to make our water good. And I was surprised at that little bit of water, but I know it's like when we talk about when we ever get to tertiary water system, then we won't be watering our yards with chlorinated water. So if we get to something, then that's very expensive too. So anyway, I want you all to consider keep putting the fluoride back in. I don't know. I guess we paid a lot of money for it through the years, but I don't even remember, it being in the budget. It was just there, and it was wonderful. So thank you. I'm Santa Henderson, by the way.
We all know that.
We all know that. Thank you.
Hi, Darrell Crane, District 2. I would like to renew my request to have workshops on this going forward. I would also like to say, Mike, I think that's a good idea. I think there are ways to target those that are in need of fluoride treatments and fluoride, ways to get fluoride into their life. Speaking about the contract tonight that you're going to vote on, I was before the committee before, and you said you were going to be putting equipment, fluoride tanks, injection equipment at all 5 of your water plants, each one of your water systems. I've looked at the numbers on this contract, and I think you're going to get hit with change orders, because I don't think they can do all 5 plants for that. The main plant is going to take huge equipment because of the amount of water that's coming out of that plant. But your plants at the mall, the airport, Highland Lakes, Royal Highlands, which Royal Highlands is I don't know if it's interconnected now or not. I think it's still independent, but I'm not sure about that. I've been out of it a little while, but I don't believe they can do it for $80,000. I believe 5 plants you'd be getting change orders on that almost immediately. Thank you.
Hey there, Chris Wollenschlager, orthodontist in the area. There were just a few points I wanted to address, especially I know Commissioner Connell seems to be very fiscally responsible, which is a good thing. But they have done cost analysis studies for putting fluoride in the water. And those studies have shown for every $1 that you invest in fluoridating the water, you will on average save your citizen $38 in future dental care. Now, if I were to be told that if I gave you $1, you could save me $38, I'd say that's one hell of a deal. So that's one issue. The second issue, I wanted to address Commissioner Peterson with $50,000 to, towards fluoridating treatments. I don't know, how you would actually do that in reality. That sounds like a great idea. Let's give $50,000 to the people for fluoride. But how is that going to be distributed? What, kids once a year will get a fluoride treatment in the school? Water you get every single day. You know, so one fluoride treatment once a year, that's great, that's nice, but what is that really going to do? Not too much. The other issue I want to talk to you about was other cities. Quebec, Canada did a study. They discontinued water, or fluoridating their water in 2010. They saw a distinct increase in the number of kids with cavities, and they have now decided that they are now going to put fluoride back in their water because they thought that fluoridating the water was a good thing. So all those points, whether it is a financial concern, yes, there's a large upfront cost, but in the end, you will end up saving people money. And then the alternatives to that is, you know, giving fluoride to people who need the fluoride. Well, people are still going to have to, whether it's an adult, still going to have to take time off of their work to be able to receive these fluoride treatments. And even if it's kids at their school, if they say, well, we're going to go once a year or twice a year to give fluoride on their teeth, well, that's not every single day. Not at all. So this is something that helps people. And it's been shown to reduce this. And these studies, these cost analysis were done even in reference to the water that's being showered with. Even though 99 or whatever number percent of the water that does not make it into your body or ingested, even that amount that is ingested is enough to save you $38 for every $1 invested. So yes, there will be some waste, but to our constituent's point over here, there's chlorine waste that's thrown away. So there will be waste, yes, but what is consumed will immensely help the citizens of Leesburg.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'll be brief. My name is Dave Wollenschlager. I've been an orthodontist here since 1990. And, you know, I think the thing that maybe a lot of you, Commissioner, don't quite understand is fluoridating the water is not going to help any one of you in this room. And you're not doing it for you. You're doing it for your kids. Bottom line is, when I came here, I rarely saw children with cavities. Now it's like a bloom. I mean, the kids decay, parents are coming in, they have to pay for root canals. Has anybody had a root canal in here? Does anybody want one? Does anybody want to pay for one? Okay, we're talking about $1,200 for a root canal. So you might have a small cavity and it grows into a big cavity. That might affect an adult. But like I said, having fluoride in your water at this point won't help most of you. But you're not doing it for you, you're doing it for your kids. And, you know, so a little bit progressive thinking. My dad was in the military, and I lived in Colorado Springs. In Colorado Springs, the water is naturally fluoridated. There's no discussion as taking the fluoride out of the water because somebody's worried about being harmed by it. It's just there. But as testimonial, I have 0 cavities. I like that. And I have 0 root canals. I like that too. So, yeah, I know this is a little bit of expense, but on average, it costs citizens $1 per year. That's not a whole lot of money. I mean, it's a lot of money up front, but when it's amortized out, this is not that big of an expense. And I hate to have to tell my patients, well, why are we getting these cavities? It's like, well, because our city is no longer fluoridating the water, but Tavares is, Eustis is. I mean, it's like, what do you say to these people? What do you want me to say to these people?
Well, I'm not going to speak for you.
Of course you're not, but I have to speak for you. Anyway, thanks.
Hello all, I'm Linda Kiro, Leesburg. I think it's a really good idea to put some money aside, maybe a little bit more might be helpful, to help the kids at school. In Chicago, when I was growing up, we had a dentist in the school, so kids had dental care every day if they needed it. That the amount of money that we're talking about for a system that may or may not actually get into someone's system, I think going directly to the dentist and helping the kids is a great idea. Secondly, the water, we all do have a right to clean water. And when we put that water that has chlorine or fluoride into our grass or on the ground, it percolates down, and eventually we're getting it again anyway. We're getting a lot of bad things. So I'd like to ask, if we're going to talk about something important, I hope we talk about sewer systems and making sure that our sewers and our septic fields are not percolating down into what should be our clean water. So, great idea about the dentist.
Just one comment from me before we move on. On the fluoride, such a deadly chemical, fluoride is the 13th most prevalent chemical in the universe. It is everywhere. It's not just in our water. Okay?
Speaking of the dentist, there's one now. Wade Winker, 728 Boylston Street in Leesburg. I've been practicing in Eustis, Florida since 1993, general dentistry. I get to fight that decay every day. A point that seems to have been missed is there's two ways to pick up fluoride. Topically, which is somewhat effective, or through ingestion. And the only way we pick it up through ingestion is if there's fluoride in something that we're ingesting. That could be water, that could be milk, that could be food, that could be whatever. But a good way to deliver that to the general population is through fluoridating the water supply. That's been done for 70 years in the United States. Very effectively. It effectively reduces decay in the population that it's introduced into by 40 to 60%. Extensive studies have been done on fluoride to determine what part of the population does it help the most. An interesting thing, it helps people in the lower socioeconomic areas unfairly higher than it does the people who might be able to afford modern dental care and regular dental visits. It's way more effective if we can get it in when our children's teeth are forming, which their last teeth are finished forming by the time they're 20, their wisdom teeth. But it's those early years that they really need that very hard mineral to pick up at the proper concentration, which we've played with a little bit over the 70 years because we found out we were using a little bit too much. We had 1 point per million that was the gold standard for about 50 of those years. The last 20 years, it's been turned down to 0.7 parts per million. Very, very effective program. Mr. Minner was absolutely right on point. It is the most effective public health project in the United States ever. And we don't have it in Leesburg. They have it in Umatilla. You already heard some of the other cities right nearby that have it. Those commissioners find it important to do so for their population. Please do the same thing here. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? Any other public comment? So we have a roll call.
Okay. Commissioner Peterson?
No.
Commissioner Reisman?
No.
Commissioner Connell?
No.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Mayor Burry?
Yes. All right, so moving on to informational reports. Following reports are provided to the Commission in accordance with the Charter and ordinances. No action is required. We have none. City Attorney items.
Don't have any reports this evening, Mr. Mayor. Just as others have said, I'd just like to welcome the new commission members. I look forward to working with you all. Certainly feel free to reach out to me as necessary if you have any questions or need to talk about anything. Welcome, and I look forward to working with all of you.
City Manager items.
I will echo the same comments as our city attorney. Welcome aboard for our new folks, Commissioner Reisman and Commissioner Berry. Look forward to working with you. Mr. Peterson, congratulations on your re-election, right? And Commissioners Burry and Connell, look forward to to at least 2 more years working with you guys. I think our agenda is pretty full. We'll be working, I think, probably the next several weeks just through communication and the processes and those type of things to establish where your priorities are. On that note, we have a couple of big capital improvement projects kind of in the hopper. One being the wastewater treatment plant, which I think most everybody's up to speed on. The Pine Street project, the Marina project, and the Susan Street Sleepy Hollow project, which actually myself, the mayor, Commissioner Reisman was there as well today to try to get some TDC funding for that project. So I will be getting a written report out to you on the status of all those. Just for this evening's brevity, just look for that email to come from me probably by Wednesday. So I'll send it to you. If you have any questions on that, give me a shout. But to give you an update on where all those projects are, and that's all I have for this evening.
Roll call.
Commissioner Peterson?
Repeating myself from the organizational meeting, but I just want to welcome Commissioners Berry and Reisman to the commission. Look forward to working with both of them. Back to the the fluoride injection system. Just because it was voted down tonight and I did vote against it, doesn't mean we cannot talk about it more and bring it back to the commission. So I welcome more public input, et cetera. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, technically under the rules there, where I'll move forward right now is that you had a failed vote to start the contract before you was not a construction contract. The contract before you was an engineering contract to design the system. So the 3-2 vote said don't design it. So if you don't design it, you don't build it. And then so now we're back to the rules of procedure. If you want to consider that, somebody who voted in the non-prevailing side, which would have been the yeses, would need to bring it back for reconsideration. So, or the prevailing side would be the noes, right? The noes prevailed. So
That's right.
So if you want to talk about it again under our existing rules in the code, Commissioner Reisman, Commissioner Peterson, or Commissioner Cannell would need to bring it back. Otherwise, we don't talk about it for a year. Is that how you interpret that rule?
Yes, sir. That's right.
So okay. Thank you for clarifying that. I just wanted the public to know that it's
whoever was in the prevailing. I don't mean to cut you off, Commissioner. Whoever was in the prevailing party can bring it back at the next meeting. In this case, the prevailing party was the noes. So somebody who doesn't want fluoride, Commissioner Reisman, Commissioner Peterson, Commissioner Cannell, would need to bring it back at the next meeting. And then you can reconsider it.
That's
and if
right,
you
that's
don't
it.
do it at the next meeting, it's King's X for a year.
For a year. Okay. So I just want the public to know it's not dead forever. That's all I meant. There is a procedure to bring it back. And I'll be honest with you, I got caught. I did not expect it to move this fast. I mean, when I saw it on the agenda, I thought we had a little bit more time on it. So it moved fast. No, I'm not being critical. It moved fast for me. But my point is, I want the public to know we can readdress it if that's what they want.
Commissioner Reisman?
Once again, thank you for everyone who supported me in my campaign. I look forward to working well with the commissioners and the city staff and city manager and city attorney. Thank you.
Commissioner Cannell?
Just congratulations to Commissioner Reisman and Commissioner Berry, and congratulations to Mayor Burry.
Commissioner?
Yeah, that's it.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes, I'd like to thank everyone for your support, and I'm looking forward to working with each one of you. And thank you.
Mayor Burry?
Yeah, tonight I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to have a commission that's willing to get along and move forward and do good things for the city. I hope I'll have a little better performance next as I ease into this this position.
You did good.
You did fine.
We'll be okay. So.
Very good.
So do we need a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Adjourned.
Second.
That's it.
Thank you.
Good job.